Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar yields, precious metals, commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll sprinkle in my financial opinions as we go. And if you need any help with anything, check out finding-value.com. We still have the discount coupon code going on, LEAP, if you'd like to use it. It's 50% off the first month to try it. And then it is a little bit larger discount on the yearly membership if you want to sign up for a yearly membership. So let's dive in here. Let's see what's going on with the markets. I'll give you my financial opinion as we go. So DXY, we are slightly lower today in the dollar despite having an increase in yields. So slightly lower dollar. The dollar's holding on strong and it's not really selling off at this time yet. We've got the 2-year yield up quite a bit today, up 1.5%, but we are in a downtrend move. So we'll see if that continues. And generally speaking, yields being up like they are, I'm surprised gold is up as much as it is. So we had an increasing yield today, but momentum is definitely to the downside. We'll see which direction this continues in. 10-year yield, it's right on support. There's the support line going across. There's more up here if we go back. There's the support line going across there. To me, it looks like yields still have the chance to go lower. Maybe that's what gold is pricing in. They have a chance. And if you come back out, this here could be basically a inverted flag pattern that heads lower. That is something I've been watching. But we're at support. We'll see if support holds. And we've got downside momentum on top of that support. And then the 30-year yield also, it's slightly higher today, but to me, it looks like we've got downside momentum that we've got going on today. Bigger selling pressure candlesticks, small little up candlestick today. I think the momentum's still to the downside. TYX TNX ratio slightly lower, which means that the curve inverted to some degree. The short end of the curve was higher than the long end of the curve and it inverted. And that did not slow down gold at all today. So we're at a very, I would say, opportune time to be looking at purchasing precious metals because we are very low in this ratio. Every time we were low in this ratio, gold has been a pretty good spot to be looking. So that is good, and we'll see if this comes back up with time, which means the yield curve will uninvert. The 30-year will stay more stable, and the 10-year could drop at a little bit faster pace. Bond prices are slightly lower today, but we are still at support, and it still looks good for this to continue higher, which means bond prices go up, yields go down. That's generally a tailwind behind precious metals. And then the 2 and 10-year, surprisingly, it's still inverted today. It inverted further today. And gold just didn't care, did not care. It said, I'm going higher. I don't really care about this. So gold, pretty big move today, up $30 an ounce, 1.4%. The past few trading sessions, pretty strong. And we're at $2,125. We are at an all-time high, and to me, this looks like it's clear, ready to run, and has basically broken out of this pattern here already, and it is running. Silver up 3.26% today, boys, right underneath that trend line. Are we going to break here at some point, or are we going to come back and do another detour? I don't really care. I think we're getting close. It looks really good, and we've been squeezing up into this corner here, ready for a master blaster, just a blast out of here. The trend line started in 2011, and it's the trend line coming across all of this resistance here. So we're lining up what looks to be like a move here soon of a breakout for silver. And this is going to most likely activate a much larger pattern here. You've got that big cup and handle too, and we're going to break out here, which could activate more levels of things that are being broken. And we could break eventually this big cup and handle pattern at 45, $50. It depends what time frame you use. If you use the yearly candlesticks, it's actually around 30 or $31. But that's also looking pretty good. Platinum also planned the up game today, up 1.71%. And to me, it looks like this is starting to break that squeeze too. There we go, breaking out today. I'm a buyer, guys. I think this looks fantastic. We are breaking out, and hopefully we get a big run out of this thing. Palladium also up 0.8%, not quite as much, but we're putting in a bottom here. It's just going to take some time. Let it go, guys. It'll go. XAU to gold ratio, the gold and silver mining companies are finally grabbing their sack and getting moving. Thank God. Here's your downtrend line. That looks like a pretty good break here today. Let's hope that momentum can continue. If you're a gold and silver mining company investor, back out. This is where the money's at, guys. This is I guess the money shot. If I were to say it's a money shot. So last bull market, we went from 1999 2000. And the bull market was just this little move up here. That was the bull market of last bull market for gold and silver mining companies. Pretty weak. I would say that's lame at best. All right. So we kept coming down. We consolidated, came down, consolidated, came down. We're consolidating. Now, what I'm hoping occurs, and I know I'm not trading off of hope, but this is what I hope occurs, is that we've bottomed in this ratio and that eventually we'll break this downtrend line upward, the big long downtrend line. And we go in basically a selling to a base to a breakout. And then that will go all the way back up eventually. If that occurs, it means that we are probably in a similar condition to the 1970s. So, and again, guys, we are coming from a really low valuation standpoint here. This is and could be life-changing gains if the gold and silver mining companies can get their super high intensity training together, their SHIT. So hopefully they can gather this up here and the market conditions come where this really starts to outperform, because this is something I've been watching for a long time and I do have exposure to it as well. CRB index, so let's go there. We are coming up a little bit today, up 0.06 for the CRB index, so that's looking good. This is a clear break here, guys. Looks like we've got a lot more to go to the upside for the CRB index. If we zoom out, what I think this is, and I'm going to just do some crazy stuff here, guys. I think that this area is similar to this area here. So we have the first wave up, then we had our pullback. This is the pullback here. And it's possible that a big third wave is coming. A big third wave, I have to shrink this out, would go all the way to 704 potentially. And then a fifth wave peak could go almost to 1,000. We're at 277, so think of it as a 4x for the commodity CRB index. Certain sectors will go up a lot more than that. That's just what I'm saying for the CRB index. CRB divided by S&P 500, we are up a little bit today, but more or less we've just been grinding sideways. This is the ratio, wave 1, and we're in wave 2, and that's why it's been grinding lower to sideways, because we've had that big pullback in the CRB. GDX ripping today, and we're still at very cheap levels here, but looks kind of like a downtrend line break, and we are ripping. So that looks pretty good. Let's hope it continues. We're at very cheap valuations from that level, and you can also see that we've got a bullish engulfing here. So that looks good to go up, which we just did. We went up. So we'll see if it can keep going. GDXJ is the same thing. It's the same setup. We've got a nice good trend line right above us. We start breaking these trend lines, I would get very, very bullish. I am very bullish. I am very bullish already, but breaking these trend lines it's going to see further upside. SILJ also looking pretty good. We had a nice good little candlesticks there. We popped higher today, and let's hope that we can break through these downtrend lines that are right above us in all three of these. Crude oil, not as uh, not as good as the silver and gold area, but it still looks good. We do have some selling pressure going on. We are right above support. I bet you we're going to do a little bit of sideways to slightly lower action in the short term. Probably make some good bumping and grinding on that trend line is my guess, and then we'll see if we can get a little pop off of it. TTF natural gas moving up, bullish engulfing. It looks like we could try to put in a bottom here, looking pretty good. And then natural gas Henry Hub up 5.6%, and it does look like we're trying to work our way and put in a bottom eventually in natural gas. I do know that they are cutting back production, the natural gas producers, and eventually I think we'll get this market balanced out, but it could take some time. It could take some time. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me, getting some selling pressure here, boys. So to me, this looks like we could go down in the short term. Now, this is pretty much mirroring what crude oil is doing because crude oil has that same setup. It's the same setup, just it's a bearish piercing there. It's a bearish engulfing on XOP. So we could see some downside in XOP in the short term. OIH also getting some selling pressure. Again, this is a bearish piercing, which means we gapped up in the morning and then got sold off below the 50th percentile of the candlestick. It's basically a trend reversal to the downside. Is it that big of a deal? I don't think so yet. We have to see follow through for me to be concerned, but we could do a retest or potentially sideways to slightly lower in OIH and XOP. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, a little bit of selling pressure today, down 3.9%. Do have a bearish engulfing here, and we do have momentum coming back down. Is it done? Is this bottoming yet? If I were to say I don't know yet, I think we need more data. But right now, the momentum's to the downside, and I would say it's not turned yet. So we're still watching that. URA selling pressure. Again, we had a bullish engulfing this day, but we have selling pressure, which is a bearish piercing that showed up today. So the buyers and sellers are fighting it here against each other. Downside momentum. Is this a continuation pattern to the downside? It could be. But let's wait and see what the follow through looks like tomorrow. URNM also getting a bearish, they call it dark cloud cover, bearish piercing. We had a bullish engulfing, bullish piercing here. So we've got the buyers and sellers basically duking it out back and forth, momentum's to the downside. And URNJ's got the same thing. We're up against resistance. We tried to break, but we got lots of selling pressure. That's what that bearish dark cloud cover, bearish piercing pattern today, that red candlestick, could signal a reversal where we could head lower in this. Then there's your flag pattern. We might flag it out lower. So don't get too worried if this goes down because technically it looks like that's a possibility. TAN also selling off a little bit. To me, it looks like we've got some sideways grindage. I think that's poly shore, isn't it? Grindage, something like that. Copper right at resistance. This does look like we could potentially fall back lower. What I'm looking at is this candlestick here and then the weak move up into resistance. So we could roll over again. That is a possibility. COPX up about 0.5%. It's doing something a little bit different. It's almost breaking out, but again, that's barely over that breakout. So I'll leave that in there and I'll put a little bit more legit line. That's what it looks like there. And we'll see if this can go up, even though copper's looking a little bit weak. But, you know, copper could still break to the upside. It is at resistance. We'll have to see. Lithium down 2.95%. On this bad boy, I'm looking for some trend lines or something. Not really much of a trend line there. Just a down day. And then REMX, a little bit more of a selling pressure day. It's probably going to come and retest this. Go back there is that's my guess. We've got the S&P 500 down a little bit, but still looks good to continue higher if it wants to. Not a reversal candlestick yet. We are squeezing into this pattern and we are towards the tip of it. And I don't exactly get a bunch of confidence when you're squeezing in a rising wedge and it's this steep. Usually they like to spill out to the downside. NASDAQ also up in the corner there, squeezing up. And again, it still looks all right. The bloody nose still could go higher. And yeah, that's what I'm seeing. KRE is moving sideways, still looks good to base out here and potentially move higher. We've got emerging markets, a little bit of a sell-off today. We had increasing interest rates with a dollar that was basically sideways, but I think eventually this will work its way on up. If rates do come down, these go up. XHB also working its way on up. I bet your rates are going to fall. That's my guess. That's probably what these guys are betting on. Falling interest rate environment. Ooh, down a little bit today. Surprise. Well, no, it was up. We had interest rates up. Maybe we're going to grind on the $69, $70 level. Do some bumpage and grindage. FEF, iron ore, looking all right. It looks like it's trying to bottom and work its way up. We got a little bloody nose today with a big bullish engulfing last trading session, so it looks good. Nickel down a little bit, but that still looks good to go higher. This is basing out and working its way on up. Aluminum sideways, but looks good to go higher. We have a broken downtrend, breakout, retest maybe, and then we rip on higher. That's my guess. Baltic Dry Index continuing higher, looking real strong. Let's rip it. Let's rip it, Baltic. We've got Newcastle Coal also up 3%, and this looks like a bottom. It does. I like it a lot. It's going to go higher. Most likely, if oil goes up and natural gas goes up, coal goes up too. So they seem to be trending higher, natural gas and oil at this time, the short term. Bitcoin just ripping to the upside, looking fantastic. Doesn't look like it's turned yet or topped yet, but we could see further upside in Bitcoin. And then Ethereum also looks good. See further upside in Ethereum. We've broken out of this resistance channel, and we had a nice big run here. How much further does it have to run? We'll see. We'll continue to monitor it and watch it. We are getting to some resistance levels. Oops, in this region here, region up there, and then the peak as well. There's some resistance coming up. And then SMCI up 18.65%. Nice big gap higher in the morning. A lot of the times you get a bearish engulfing here. They gap something up so they can sell shares. We have a wick at the top here. Is this going to top out? I don't know. Let's watch it and see. Because we can use this type of information if this is a top. And we can use how this trades with our commodities later on when that eventually tops. So this could be kind of like a training thing. And NVIDIA ripped today too, I think. Yeah, it was up 3.6%. It gapped up, but it's got a nice little wick at the top. Usually these wicks at the top mean there's selling pressure. It's starting to mount. Don't really see too many wicks. They're usually on the bottom, like this wick there. If they're at the top like this, sometimes that can sometimes indicate a topping, where you get a bunch of selling pressure, and then you get basically a potential move lower. So again, let's see what this occurs. This is starting to get into the short term, but we'll see what occurs there. And if I were to guess here, you got like basically this is wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and then wave 5. It's a big blow off top. I think that a lot of our stocks are in this location here for commodities. This is a peak that we're getting. And there could be a further sell-off possibility if the tech stocks crash. They could pull commodities with it to the downside. And that is why we're watching some of these here. But that's what I've got for today, guys. Thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website. I do lots of charting, some fundamental analysis and stuff like that for looking at companies for the website as well. So, but that's what I've got for today, guys. So catch you next time. This is Finding Value.